Psychologists, psychiatrists, and sociologists have long sought to understand what would lead a parent to kill their offspring, an action that is so counter to the notion of a parent as a protector and a nurturer. In this case, however, the couple had not only murdered their child, but had abused him over 3 months before he succumbed to his injuries. Today, I'm going to be talking about the Singapore Scalded Boy case. Hi guys! Today I'm going to be talking about this really interesting case that I guess if you're not Singaporean you wouldn't know about. Azlin, Arujunah and her husband, Ridzuan Abdul Rahman, have 4 children and lived in a one-room flat rental apartment in Toa Payoh. One of their children, however, was raised just a little bit different. This child was fostered shortly after birth and lived with a close friend of Azlin's in a private arrangement from around March 2011 until May 2015 when he was returned to the couple. About a year later, around June 2016, their abuse towards this particular child began. The couple will hit him with implements such as the broom or a hanger, and they would use pliers to pinch his thighs and buttocks. In August 2016, the child received a beating by Azlin, the mother, because he had accidentally toppled a biscuit tin. This beating actually left marks on the child's stomach and left him with a limp and a misaligned kneecap. Between October 15 and October 22, 2016, the couple threw multiple cups of hot water taken from a water dispenser on the child. This happened at least 4 times, causing him to suffer from severe scalp injuries such as blisters and peeling skins. Scientific tests show that the temperature of the water in the dispenser averaged 92.6 degrees Celsius. On 22nd of October 2016, the boy was confined in the cage meant for the family cat. The cage was measured at 70 by 58 by 90 cm, while the boy was only 105 cm tall. So later that day, when the child did not want to remove his shorts for a shower, his father allegedly hit his head with a broom before throwing more cups of hot water at him. The boy crouched down in the toilet as Ridzuan poured hot water over his back and calf. He then toppled over onto the bathroom floor and stopped moving. When he stopped responding, the parents panicked and they didn't even bring him to the hospital immediately because they were afraid that they would be charged for child abuse. They only sent him to the hospital almost 6 hours later. Upon his admission to the KK Women's and Children's Hospital, the boy was found to be in a critical condition with symptoms such as low body temperature and low blood pressure. He also had 2nd to 3rd degree burns across up to 70% of the body, dehydration, acute kidney injury, multiple facial wounds, a broken nose, and demonstrated isolated speech delay. His skin was in such a bad stage that the doctors had to insert needles directly onto his bone instead of the skin to give him fluids, blood, and medication. The boy also had severe anemia that was almost life-threatening, suggesting significant blood loss over a period of time. The couple initially explained that the kid was playing with cattle when it fell over him, which was why he was scalded so badly, but the doctor didn't believe them and contacted the police. The child went into shock during surgery with raw untreated burn wounds over large portions of his body and a blistered palm. This blistered palm was caused by his father because once he was stealing milk powder to eat and the father got so angry, he heated up a spoon and then put it on his palm as a punishment. Despite the hospital's efforts to resuscitate him, he died about 14 hours later. The child passed away very quickly and the nurses were very distressed. The hospital had to counsel and give some support to the nurses because they became very emotional. They couldn't believe that this could happen to a child. The child would have suffered from an extreme amount of pain. It's quite unimaginable. Ridzuan was arrested on 23 of October 2016 that same day, while Azlin, the mother, was arrested 2 days later. During trial, it was mentioned that Azlin herself had been scalded as a child by her own mother, and that was how she learned this method of punishment, which I honestly think is fucking bullshit. I've experienced my fair share of beating as an Asian child, and I would never want to do that to my kid because it's pretty traumatic for me. I know it's just meant to be a discipline, but there's so many ways you can teach a child rather than just hitting them. If I had the intention of killing him, I would have killed my other children as well. But all of my children are safe and I do not beat them. As a mother, I would not have the heart to kill my own child. I only wanted him to learn his lesson. Why would I want to do this to him when I have never beaten the other children? After all, he is also my son. Azlin was said to be facing multiple stresses in 2016. Her grandmother and mother died within months of each other, while Ridzuan, her husband, was cheating on her and disappeared for 3 weeks, leaving her alone with her children. To cope, Azlin actually abused medication, I think meth, which can cause her to be irritated all the time. During trial, Azlin also claimed that Ridzuan physically abused her during their marriage, and so she directed her anger towards the child, who resembled the father. Another factor mentioned at trial was that there was a lack of bonding between Azlin and the boy, who was fostered out shortly after his birth and returned to his parents when he was 4 years old. Azlin suffered from an adjustment disorder with depressed mood that affected her self-control. Ridzuan, on the other hand, was described at court to have an absent mother during his childhood and had an extremely low to low average intelligence.
A couple found guilty of abusing their 5-year-old son has been sentenced to 27 years jail each. 28-year-old Ridzuan Mega Abdul Rahman was also given the maximum 24 strokes of the cane. His wife, Azlin Arujunah, also 28, was given an additional year of jail in lieu of caning. Under the law, women cannot be caned.
What bugs me the most about this case is that they actually have 3 other children, which was in the same house. Can you imagine, like, they see their sibling getting abused like that, like constantly getting hot water thrown on? Why did they only direct the anger at this one child? Because they spent like 4 years apart? And if you want him back, you should take responsibility, right, as a parent. Ugh. Thank you for watching today's video, and see you in the next one. Be critical.